The next series of pre-start checks will normally be accessible from within the engine compartment. Let us begin as we check the engine oil level. The engine's oil level is checked using a dipstick. This must be located, pulled out of its tube and wiped dry with a cloth or paper towel in order to take a level reading. The dry dipstick is then returned into the tube and pushed fully in. Now it is removed again, but this time we must note the oil on the stick. Look to see what position on the stick the oil mark reaches. The oil level is correct when the oil mark is at the full mark on the stick. If the mark lies between the full and the low mark, then there is sufficient oil in the engine. However, if the oil mark falls below the low mark, then the engine oil must be topped up with the oil of the correct type and grade. Depending on your company's policy, should your vehicle have a low oil level, report this fact to a supervisor or refill it. Let us now attend to the engine's cooling system, presuming that the engine is a water-cooled model. Forklifts that use water-cooled engines will feature a radiator, usually mounted close to the engine. The amount of water within the engine is generally checked either at a device called an expansion tank that connects to the radiator, or by checking inside the radiator, which involves the removal of the radiator cap. A word of caution here. Never remove a radiator cap or an expansion tank cap if the engine is hot, as you can be badly scalded. You may need to wait until the engine has cooled. Only clean, fresh water may be used to top up a radiator. If filling is performed directly into a radiator, then the level should be brought up to about 10 millimeters below the bottom of the radiator neck. This will leave space for expansion of the water when it heats up. Where filling is made through an expansion tank, the level must not exceed the full mark on the tank. Check the seal and spring for damage before replacing the cap. Caps must be replaced carefully and securely. Do not operate your vehicle if the cooling water level is low, as there is the danger of seizing the engine. The next item for checking is the battery. First, we should inspect the battery for any physical defects and for the two main cable connections. The battery must be secured with its hold-down clamp. A loose battery will bounce around and can easily become cracked, and therefore it will leak. The cable terminals should be secure, as loose terminals can present starting and charging problems. If a battery has cell covers, then these may be removed in order to check the battery's electrolyte level. If the electrolyte level within any one cell is low, then that cell must be topped up using only distilled water. Note that it is dangerous to smoke or to bring a naked flame over a battery. Gases emitted from the cells are explosive. Further, you should be aware that battery acid is corrosive. Handling of batteries, especially ones that are wet, can burn your skin and damage clothing. If acid gets onto your skin or clothing, then immediately wash with plenty of fresh water. The next item that we would expect to find in the engine compartment is the cooling fan together with its fan belt. Check the fan blades for any damage such as buckling or cracking. Feel for any slack movement in the fan support bearing by trying to move the fan back and forth. Any slackness in the bearing may indicate a worn water pump on some models. Next, check the fan belt. The belt must be properly tensioned without excessive slack, and there must be no visible signs of shiny wear or other damage. Whilst in this area, we should check the various water hoses and connections between the radiator and the engine. This is a common area in which to expect water leaks. Hoses must be in good condition and the clamps must be secure. Let's summarize the engine compartment checks. Check the engine oil level. Check, if applicable, the coolant in the cooling system. Check the battery and its connections. Check the fan condition together with the fan bearing or the water pump. Check the fan belt tension and condition of the belt. Then check the radiator hoses and their connections.